right.
Great intro.
Nothing like a little rock and roll to get Bo going here.
Yeah. Wednesday mornings.
Hey, Joel, welcome in. All right, Eric, for those of you that are loyal followers of the show, we'd like to welcome in a special guest this week. We have Eric, and he is kind of he's me on steroids, really, after learning about him a little bit. I do a lot of buying and selling, and I have pretty good profits for the year. But when I saw your eBay screenshot the other day that you had 100,000 in a 90-day, I saw that and I was like, oh, he's right up there with me. I was thinking that was a year-to-date thing because that's about where I am year-to-date. Then I realized that was a 90-day screenshot and thought, holy cow, I'm in the big leagues now.
That's right. Got to put the foot on the gas to get that volume going.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's all about buying velocity.
Did you get lucky this morning? I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you have any luck?
No. What a bloodbath.
Yeah.
That was I was afraid that's how it was going to be. I saw the pricing and I thought, okay, this is pretty expensive. Maybe some people will back off. But yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody who scored a jumbo or hobby. Do you guys?
I got 2 hobby boxes.
Oh, nice. Very good. Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got quite a few people messaging me that they got hobby boxes. I don't know anybody that got a jumbo, but I told Bo I had to get on here and like woosah a little bit. I haven't been this pissed off in years. It takes a lot to get me mad, and I'm like furious right now because I've waited years. They've been teasing this was coming. I've waited years as a collector, a 40-year collector. Topps Chrome. I mean, they should have made it to where you could at least have gotten a box. You know, if people can't buy them to flip them, I'm okay with that. Do a queue system. Do something. Yeah. But I knew it was going to be bad. So I had my kid, my wife. We had 3 computers open, 2 phones open. We had everything lined up, and each one had specific instructions as to you try and buy this, you try and buy this, you try and buy this. And every one of them ended up timing out. They got to the check-in process, and then all of them said you're in line 5 minutes to check out, which is ridiculous. You should be able to check out instantly. And Topps has got to get that figured out. And then within the 5-minute window, they start disappearing. Sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. I ended up getting nothing. So then just out of rage and pure pissed offness, I went and bought a damn case of mega boxes, which is probably going to be worthless. But I wanted to get something. I had 10 grand set aside waiting for my cases of Chrome. I wanted to buy a case of Chrome, hobby or jumbo, and just put it in my closet and forget about it for 20 years. That's what I wanted to do. I'm a collector, for God's sakes. I wanted to collect this damn product, and it wouldn't let me, and I'm so pissed off. But anyways, so I've got a bunch of mega boxes coming, which will be probably, I'll light that on fire, $1,800 whatever.
It'll be a fun rip. I think who knows how much they printed of the retail stuff. That'll be the key as to what you can get. I mean, Topps flagship paper was obviously printed to the moon, and the retail is, it's kind of worthless. But I thought the pricing on the hobby stuff wasn't bad. If you compare it to Prism and you're getting, 3 autos for a jumbo box at $700, compare that to like what Wemby rookie year Prism hobby boxes were. I think, close to 1,000, if not more at some point. And there you're getting 2 sticker autos and the top 3 picks don't even sign. So I felt like it was a decent price. Maybe it was too good. I'm sure it'll pop up on secondary at 900, but at least you're, the mega case, you got more than what I've heard other people are getting.
Yeah. I wanted a case to put. See, I have a case of 92, 93 Fleer basketball sitting in my closet, just collecting dust. That was the only case I could afford back in the day to get a bunch of Jordan stuff. And then I've got a case of 2012 Prism basketball. When that came out, I bought a case of that. I've got that sitting in my closet unopened. I wanted a case of this just to collect. I wanted to buy some single boxes to flip. Don't get me wrong. I wanted the case to collect it. I wanted to collect it, and I didn't. I don't. So I've already had two of my buddies that break. Have already saw my IG rant and post on my IG, and so they've already messaged me that they'll sell me a case. They got my one buddy got 12 cases for his breaking company.
That's direct from Tops.
It's direct Tops, yeah. So because he's a breaker, he gets 12 cases of jumbo. That's just not right. I don't care who you are. I get that that these breakers like fuel the hobby, but that's wrong. It's just wrong. It's flat out wrong.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at now. Unfortunately, breakers are getting massive allocations, and you hear about hobby shops not being able to get what they want to fulfill customer needs. And then like in your case, the breaker's getting 12 jumbo cases, probably got, 10, 15 hobby cases as well with that.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm not going to pay after I already texted my kid. I said, that's it. I'm out of cards. I'm done. I'm so pissed off. I'm done.
This is your last show?
I'm over. I'm out of it. What I've got's going to get closed up and sealed in a museum closet, and I'm done. I'm done. And my kid's like, yeah, for about 10 minutes until something pops up that's too good to be true, and you hit the buy it now. He goes, yeah, sure.
Exactly, right? Now, what if the jumbos pop up around 800 on a secondary? Are you a buyer at that?
No, because I wanted a case. I wanted a case. There were 8 boxes to a case, so it was like what, $5,600 for a case.
Yeah.
At $5,600, I would have bought 2 cases. One I would have ripped and flipped. I would have opened and flipped the boxes. But I wanted one case just for my collection. And no, I don't want to spend $7 or $8 grand for a case just to put in my closet. Now I'm stubborn. Now I'm dumb and I'm stubborn.
You're done with basketball for the year?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just so pissed off right now. But we have a show to do. So I know people love hearing me rant, but we got a show to do. We brought Eric in as a special guest. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Eric?
Sure. I've been in cards since I was a kid, obviously, like most people, but, always have looked for a money-making angle with what I was doing. I collect a little bit, but I am a flipper investor, I think, first before collecting. There are very few things I will keep. And I feel like, every card has a price almost. So I do let a lot of my PC stuff go over the years. But, the last 12 months, I've been really focused on live streaming, building up a community there, but heavily grading. I got into grading a few years ago. I always bought wax to flip. I used to do breaks for blowout cards like 10, 15 years ago when breaks really first started going. Now it's, the live streaming really captured my attention, just the ability to turn on your camera and start selling cards, without having to take pictures and go through listing them. That has drawn me in, and I've been doing, heavy Whatnot, eBay Live, Fanatics Live for the last year. But really focused on prospecting. I try to find undervalued players. I try to find players that their card market hasn't caught up with their abilities yet. Buying people on the dip, things like that, but really grading heavily in the off season. Just to have an arsenal of cards before each season has been my focus. I'm probably sending 30 to 40 cards a week to PSA right now. And that really, just trying to increase my volume as much as possible in order to maximize returns right now.
Yeah, I've been, so you and I the little bit that we've known, we seem to have similar plays,
Oh yeah.
similar strategies. I too, for about the last 5 years, I send off a bulk submission to PSA every week. It's usually 20 to 40 cards. I do have included in there is I do have 3 or 4 local guys that will throw me a couple cards every now and then and say, hey, can you grade this for me? But yeah, I've got a constant stream of cards going to and coming from PSA. I was just looking at my records yesterday, and I've spent $14,000 at PSA grading cards already this year.
I believe it.
And I thought, gosh, I'm on pace for about $18,000 this year, which will be that'll be about $4,000 more than last year. But the prices have gone up, so I guess that makes sense. So why don't we put into the comments here, what is the name of your Whatnot channel?
I go under Mr. Hop on Whatnot. All one
Is it
word.
all one word or separated?
Yeah. No, all one word, all lowercase letters. And I've been on there for now a little over a year. I've got about 14,000 followers. I'm really trying to push 20,000. That's been my goal. But for me, the biggest thing has been just integrating everything. I've got my eBay account, Whatnot, Instagram, and just connecting those 3 to really make a brand. And people can find you easily that way. So you might have a card listed on eBay in a buy it now, and you get a message on Instagram from somebody, trying to buy it from you, which will help save those fees as well. But, you also have people on Whatnot. You can have it listed on eBay and still, show it on Whatnot and see what your asking price is. So, integrating all the avenues to sell, I think has been big for me.
And what is your Instagram?
The Card Society. All one word as well. And that, I've really just focused on revealing submissions. I don't show off all my 9s that come back, but I do pretty well overall for grading. And so I've just done a lot of reels highlighting 10s. And I highly recommend people, if you don't have an Instagram account, use it as much as possible. It's free marketing for yourself. And, just showing off cards on your stories, you never know what kind of offers you can get. Constantly getting messages. I'll do a 30-second reel just revealing the cards I got back from PSA. And then all of a sudden you've got, messages in your inbox for people asking to buy those cards.
Oh, so I'm being corrected. Go West Photography is Mr. spelled out for your Whatnot?
Yes, MIS.
All right, I did. Thank you, Go West. So
that's me. I've stopped
it. You, Bo?
Yeah.
You're Go West?
Yeah. I don't live in the West anymore, but I used to. But
picked up a Raiders hat and came back.
That was one of my old YouTube channel for my nature photography, and that's the only one that it would allow me to use to comment with. But
I had to post Mark's comment. Welcome in, Mark, taunting me that I didn't get my Chrome basketball. Thank you very much. If you didn't log in early enough, Mark, you can hit replay and listen to my rant. So, all right. Well, so what we're going to do today, guys, is instead of listening to Bo and I ramble on about our thoughts and our plays, we're going to get Eric, who has a lot of experience, and he's in our Discord. If you guys aren't in the Discord, you should be. Drops a lot of knowledge in the Discord, some very good plays. And I got to be honest, he might have cast a wider net than I do, because he's got some guys in his prospects that I did not have in my prospects. So I might have to look into it. But the way this works, Eric, is when I go, I never know if when I put all the things for market movers in, I never know if it's starting from the top or the bottom. So we're going to pull up the first one, and then I'll know what sport we're starting with.
All right. Yeah, no problem.
So Eric gave us a bunch of plays that he wants to, or players that we want to discuss here. So we're gonna start with the first one here.
Yeah, this is to me by far the most fun part of the hobby. It's like fantasy sports of guys you target in the off season, sleepers, but really just people you think will increase in value, whether it's performance or something else. Ooh, yeah, PJ.
So the first guy we're going to talk about is a guy that I did not have on my radar, or do not have on my radar. He also is not on Market Movers' radar because Market Movers did not have any information on an autograph of this guy. So the only comps I could get were through eBay. So, first guy, what do you like about PJ Haggerty?
So Haggerty was at Memphis last year. He was the AAC Player of the Year. I don't think many people paid attention to Memphis last year, and he kind of flew under the radar. These were his first licensed cards in Bowman Chrome, which Bowman last year came out at the end of the season. It was, I think, Final Four weekend maybe. Mm-hmm. And so half the team, or not half the teams, 98% of the teams had finished and people had kind of moved on, to baseball and the NBA playoffs and stuff like that. So a lot of guys whose teams weren't in the finals kind of got missed, but Haggerty was on the draft radar last year and he withdrew his name. He was a potential first rounder, absolute elite scorer. He's 6'3", plays point guard, shooting guard. I think everybody's a combo guard nowadays. We don't really see, traditional point guards, but his last game, actually, he scored 31. He's at Kansas State now. So he does have a team change in Kansas State, much more prolific basketball school recently than Memphis. I think he'll get a lot of national recognition towards the end of the year. I think Kansas State will be, up there for the Big 12 championship, but also will be in the tournament. So he'll get a little bit of exposure then, but I'm expecting him to be in the draft and be a first round pick next year. So a lot of these guys you see on here, there's sort of two selling windows. And anytime I look to buy somebody, I always think, all right, what's the selling window for this card? I don't purchase a card unless I know what the exit strategy or overall strategy is going to be. So for these guys right now, we're in November. You got 3 months or so to get them graded and get them back. So you're looking at February, March for when you can get these cards back in your hand, have them back for the conference tournaments. And then, things go well and his market is great. That's a good opportunity to sell at that point. If not, you can always look to hold until the draft or even the preseason. I'm seeing a lot of the Bowman Chrome cards rise in the preseason before they have NBA cards out.
Yeah, I was when I looked him up because he was not on my radar yet. For the season through 4 games, he's averaging 26 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. So he's definitely a prolific scorer, which ESPN highlights like guys that can drop 30 on any given night. So he certainly could get some media attention. I see he's not at this point projected in the ESPN mock drafts. He's not projected in the draft anywhere at all this year. So he's under the radar quite a bit.
Yeah.
But when you look at these first Bowman autos, $10 on the 18th. So yesterday, $10, 13 for a black wave. I mean, that's some pretty inexpensive first autographs for a player.
Yeah. I mean, look at that gold out of 50 for $13. you spend 21 grading that card, so you're in a gold auto for $35
Right.
if you gem it. No reason that can't be a $75 to $100 card towards March Madness. If he continues scoring 26, 27 a game, he's going to definitely be on some of the new mock drafts that come out later.
Yeah, I like it. All right, next player up we're going to share is Emmanuel Sharp, another player that I did not have on my radar, but plays for a very good Houston team. So what do you like about him?
Yeah, leading scorer on Houston, who is obviously top 5 team, was in the finals last year. I think you probably remember Sharp had the ball towards the end of the game and looked to take a jump shot, and it was contested, and he just kind of threw it on the floor. So I always thought that he would come back with a vengeance this season, which he has. But I like his pricing. He's super cheap, like Haggerty. There's a color match Red Wave auto, $25. Even buying him graded.
And now that's in a PSA 10.
Yeah, that's nuts. You buy that and then hold on until the end of the season. People they take a while to warm up to college basketball. I feel like, first few weeks of the season are sort of sleepy. People are still giddy over the NBA. College football is heating up towards the playoffs. So college basketball, usually you don't see cards rise at the beginning of the season for most guys. But for this guy, I really, really like his upside towards the end of the year. And then again, I think he can be another first-round pick like Haggerty that will pop up on the radar later in the season.
Yeah, I like it.
Anytime you can get the top scorer on the number 2 team in the country, and you can get his autos for under $5, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And I've always found that the college basketball, much to what you were saying, you can usually buy into early January. It seems like for whatever reason, college basketball cards don't start heating up until mid to late February, early March. Everybody kind of wants to see, are they going to make the big dance? Where are they going to be seated? And then the players that go off in the big dance, their cards usually pop off big.
Yeah.
But you've got the draft coming up. The thing with Sharp is he's a senior, so he's a little bit older than some of these other prospects we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can get a guy that's scoring that many points on one of the top teams in the country, that's certainly worth. And for that cheap, I mean, that was some of the things, some of the prospects that are going to be on your list today that were not on mine are so dirt cheap. I'm probably going to go get a couple of them just because.
Yeah.
Heck, I just blew it.
They're not going to get lower. Yeah.
Yeah. I blew $1,800 on freaking mega boxes because I was pissed off on missing out. I can afford $5 or $10 for some of these. So
there you go. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is the pricing of some of these guys. So like Braden Smith, I left him off. He's obviously an amazing player. I don't know about Braden Smith's draft stock or potential. He's very, very small. Might end up being a second rounder. But he's his base autos are $50-$60. And so there's not a ton of room once they start reaching that level. So he was one I left off just for that reason. But certainly you could, if he wins player of the year, Purdue wins the national championship, that's stuff that could really skyrocket some of his cards.
All right. So the next player here also, you know that Eric's reaching deep when Market Movers doesn't graph any of these players yet, which is great for us because at Eric's suggestions, all of our listeners are going to be able to buy these at really cheap prices. Solo ball for a UConn team. I have a UConn player that I thought was one of my more of a sleeper type picks. I thought about Ball. I know who he is. He's on my radar. I just haven't bought any. But the player I kind of like from UConn is Braylon Mullins. He's out till probably mid-December, but he was a highly ranked freshman coming in. So Mullins might be a guy that you can watch as well. But what do you like here about Solomon Ball?
Yeah, another similar to Sharp, potential leading scorer on a top 5 team. UConn looks mighty good this year. They have a great starting 5. Ball has really improved his game. He's become just a deadly 3-point shooter. He's very big. He's 6'3", close to 200 pounds. I think he's got a really nice frame. Reminds me almost of like a taller Desmond Bain. Just a built scorer. He can play point guard. He can play shooting guard. And I think NBA scouts are really going to get a lot of exposure to him, as UConn's going to be, on national television a lot, and obviously will be an Elite 8 Final Four contender. But yeah, Ball's a fantastic player. I firmly believe he'll be a first-round pick next year. Even if he slides into the second round, I think he's a guy that you could hold his cards until probably the preseason of next season, similar to like a McNeely is this year for Charlotte.
Yeah, I think Ball is probably a second round pick. But yeah, for that, when you're talking about $10 or $15 to invest in a player's first auto, and some of these are refractors, colored, numbered, cheap. You're not spending a lot of money here. When we'll get to baseball, but when you prospect on a guy like a Connor Griffin or a Kevin McGonigal, their first cards are $300. We're talking about $5, $10, $15. It's just not a lot to take a chance on.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder when. I feel like we're going to see that change at some point. Bowman Chrome College has only been licensed for a couple of years. I think 2022 was the first year it was actually licensed. Yeah. So, baseball Bowman Chrome goes back for forever. And it's always kind of been the card to have of a prospect until their Topps Chrome rookie. So I feel like football is starting to get more respect on the Bowman Chrome level where we're seeing those prices go up. I think we're going to start to see that too with basketball. Obviously, Cooper Flagg's Bowman stuff was crazy last year. Harper and Bailey as well. But I'm starting to see a lot more action on these Bowman Chrome cards. Like I have a bunch of Con Knipple graded cards that I threw up on eBay before the season at really high buy it nows, and people are starting to snab those. So, it just, all it takes is somebody getting drafted in the first round, having a few good games, and their cards go off.
Yeah. VJ Edgecombe, kind of took everybody by surprise with his start to the season and got himself in the conversation with Cooper for Rookie of the Year, but don't sleep on Connie. Slowly inching his way up there. He's now in the top 3 for Vegas odds for Rookie of the Year.
He might win it.
I actually think that he's in the best situation because they need him to score. They want him to score. As long as he stays healthy, it's likely that his statistics will be the strongest of any rookie out there. So yeah, he very well could sneak past his teammate Cooper and snag that thing from him. All right, let's take a look at another one here. All right, now we got to one that market movers wanted to track. Carter Knox.
Yeah. Carter Knox, he's been frustrating me this season.
I'm a Razorback fan, and he hasn't been. He's getting outshined every night.
He is. It's the 2 freshmen, Acuff and Malik are really outshining him. I thought he could be Arkansas's leading scorer this year. It's probably not going to happen. he's still a very, very talented player and scorer who has first-round potential. Arkansas is got a really, really good team. They're going to be in the tournament, contending for the SEC championship. The two freshmen on Arkansas don't have licensed cards, so I would have definitely put one of them on here if they had those. But for him, I think his brother Carter Kevin was a first-round pick, sort of fizzled out. Carter has always been projected as better than Kevin. And last year really came on strong for Arkansas. Just another, very good scoring guard, but he hasn't done much this year. And so I would almost wait a little bit on him. He's fantastic buy low opportunity right now. As you can see, his prices looks like they went up and then down and then up a little bit. But
did you see the game last night?
Yeah.
They barely won, and it was a huge controversy.
Surprised they won that. That play at the end was just weird. Where
I thought that Pringle was going to get technical foul on that. He just body slammed the guy.
I know, he picked him up and threw him back down by his jersey. I was surprised they let all that go. But yeah, that was a hell of a win. Winthrop, scrappy basketball team that gave them a fight for sure. But yeah, Knox, I'd like to see a little bit more out of him over their next few games.
Yeah, Acuff is the guy from Arkansas that I'm most intrigued by. But some of the prospects that I'm watching, like you mentioned with Acuff and even Braylon Mullins from UConn, they don't have any licensed stuff out yet. Mm-hmm. But those are players that you're going to want to watch for their first licensed stuff, whether it's they have a big game and it's a Topps or a Bowman Now card that might come out. But those are players that are, I think Mullen and Acuff both have first round potential. So as does Knox, but he's kind of getting overshadowed a little bit right now.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully Bowman Chrome has a lot of these freshmen in it when it comes out, and I hope they put it out earlier than April. Be nice to get it in February before the season starts. They do McDonald's usually in January, February, which is also nice. It'll have a lot of those freshmen in it too.
Now, here's a player that's up next that I had on my list. He's one of the prospects I really like. I think he's NBA level ready for his defense at least. However, there's questions as to whether he can get downhill and what his three-point shot looks like. But Isaiah Evans from Duke, sophomore guard. He's got good length at 6'6". Of course, he's overshadowed by Boozer. But Market Movers doesn't have any of his cards in there as well, which surprised me because I thought that they would. But when you look at, there's the McDonald's numbered to 75, $15. It's not a lot of money again for an auto of a kid that is, I think, going to go middle to late first round.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He reminds me of Brandon Ingram a little bit from Duke. Skinny, tall, long, really good shot, great scorer. Duke is they're so loaded. Some of these guys it's similar to last year, where you had 5 guys go in the draft from Duke, and it looks like they probably will again this coming up year. But he's relatively inexpensive for as good as he is. I think he's got a long runway for his cards to go up. Duke's going to be at the top of the rankings for the whole season, national attention, and he's going to be one of their top scorers outside of Boozer. So, and I think he'll make a good pro. I think he'll be really good next year in the NBA.
Yeah, I had to scroll down because there aren't a lot of sales of his cards even, which is why Market Movers probably doesn't track it. But there in the middle of the screen, you can see a Chrome a Bowman Chrome Refractor. Oh, that's the wrong guy even. So I'm not seeing any. So he must not have a first Bowman auto yet. He's got a McDonald's one and he's got a non-auto. So maybe there you look for a blue refractor non-auto. A color match might be the play there, unless he comes out this year with an auto.
Yeah, I like this. I brought a few examples too, but there's a Sapphire I just got back. I like grading the Sapphires as well, especially if they're numbered out of 99 or less. This is the yellow to 75, but I think he does have a Bowman first auto. He was in McDonald's too.
I saw McDonald's. I saw they had comps on the McDonald's, but I didn't see a single. Maybe just nobody has sold one, but I couldn't find anything on the comps there through Market Movers through eBay for a first auto from Bowman.
Interesting.
So if he does have them, they're rare.
Yeah, or people aren't selling him yet. Maybe they're stashing him as well.
That could be. Another one here. A lot of the basketball prospects, Market Movers doesn't have much on them yet. So this one here I thought Market Movers would have, but especially with his brother. But Dame Sarr.
Yeah, Sarr. He looks better every time I watch Duke play. He's very, very raw. He's from Italy. He's tall, long, very big guard. I think he's like 6'7", 6'8". Another really good scorer, plays good defense. He might be, leaning towards a lottery pick. I think just depends on how he does this year. He had some hype last year in the draft. He had his name in. I think he came from Italy, and then he pulled out and ended up going to Duke. So I saw a little bit more interest in his cards actually when he announced he was going to Duke. And it's going to be real interesting to see how they perform this year, because nobody's seen the kid really play up until, the first few games that Duke is there. And he's going to have some really big games this year. And I think his cards will pop when he does, and he'll start getting more national attention.
Yeah, take a look at the Sapphire first auto color match. What a gorgeous card for $25.
That's awesome. Yeah, love the color matches. Big fan. Anytime you can find one, definitely do it.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for color match. Everybody knows that. I just can't help myself.
They're more desirable cards, I think.
All right. LeBaron Philon.
Yeah.
Philon.
He might be my favorite player on this list. I think he's going to be a phenomenal NBA player. Leading scorer, team leader at Alabama, who, again, is going to be top 10 for most of the season. Looking at that red wave refractor out of 45, I love that color match right there. I actually have one of those in a PSA 10, but he's another one. Point guard, was potentially the number one point guard in last year's draft and did not go into it. He came out and ended up going back to Alabama. Alabama looks pretty good. Philon's had some good games so far this year, but I think he could be, top 10 potential pick in the draft next season.
Yeah, I think he's got a lottery pick written all over him as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah. 3-level scorer, just the guy you want with the ball in his hands at the end of the game. He's got superstar written all over him.
No, he was, as you could see, he was a lot more expensive than the other guys we've been talking about. His base first auto there sold for $35 recently, so it's 6 or 7 times more expensive than some of these other guys, but I think worth every penny yet at $35. All right. Getting into some baseball here now.
Oh, Benj. Nice. Benj, Mets outfielder. Not the cheapest guy on the list. He is a Mets prospect. So, I always, with baseball, to me, it comes down to obviously the player's skill set, but you've got to factor in the team they're on, the position they play, who's in front of them, and, when the potential call-up is. I don't like to hold cards for more than a year. I don't plan to hold them for more than in a year unless it's like a, PC card like Jordan graded cards that I'll keep for a while. But especially with baseball prospects, I try to buy guys in the off season that will potentially or should be called up next year and may even contend for a rookie of the year. Benj, I think, is one of those guys that should be called up by the Mets. Just an absolute stud center fielder, defensive player, has a little bit of pop, a ton of speed, and I think he's a great buy this offseason if you can get some of his numbered cards or numbered autos. Sitting at 160 for a refractor at a 499 isn't a bad price if you compare that to some of the top 25 prospects in the game. So I like for Benj to be a relatively early call-up, might even make the team out of spring training as well.
Yeah, he's a player that if you're not wanting to spend that extra money and get a refractor, the base autos are $95 to $110. And he's certainly a player that had a lot of hype. He was a two-way. He was kind of a similar to a Shohei Ohtani. I don't know how many people are aware of that, but he actually pitched his first 2 years in the New York Mets system. And then this last year, now 2025, they did not allow him to pitch. They're getting him to focus on other things. So I think his hopes and dreams of being a two-way player are now squashed and over with. But he did pitch for a couple of years in college as well. So.
Yeah, and he's a Met, and Mets, I think we saw with Jonah Tong and McLean last year, if you're a Met and you get called up and you have a couple good games, it's through the roof.
Yeah, you get those big markets and any little hype and the cards go nuts.
Yeah. Bonnemer. Yeah, he's one of my favorite players in the minors right now. Much more inexpensive than a lot of guys. He's only 20 years old. I think he hit 12 home runs, 30 stolen bases last year. So I like to target power speed combo guys. They tend to be, I would say a little sexier players that, usually are targeted high in fantasy drafts, but also guys that they have that swagger, and people like that. They like those type of baseball players. So Bonnemer's in the White Sox system, could start the season at Double-A, but potentially make his debut late next year. I probably wouldn't wait until the season starts to buy him. I would try to acquire some of his cards now and grade them as well. But yeah, in that 2024 draft class, which is pretty nice. It looks like his cards have stayed relatively flat for the most part.
Yeah, the last 90 days, right around that $75 to $80 mark is pretty consistent. He is not a player. Benj is a player that I dabble in a little bit. Bonnemer is not. I try to avoid White Sox prospects, but I certainly get the appeal to him.
Yeah, they've got, White Sox. There are a couple guys I almost put on the list. Montgomery and Kyle Teal are two others that I think are worthy of dabbling into. But Bonnemer, to me, just his age and his toolkit, I think he could be a star.
Do you typically wait for the call-up to sell?
No, I don't. I want to be done with their cards at the call-up. They sometimes do go up, but I would say 75% of the time they go down.
So usually before opening day.
Yeah, I like that window, especially if they have a good spring training. I just try to pay attention to what their cards have been doing, if they're getting a little more steam. Like Esmeralda Valdez is a guy that I actually sold a couple weeks ago because he went off in the fall league. I wasn't planning on selling him, but he went bonkers in the fall league, and then he ended up having a great performance.
Yeah, so with baseball, there's several different ways that you can sell them, and much to Eric's point, it could be a Arizona Fall League, it could be it could be some walk-off big hit for AA or AAA, whatever level they're at. Typically, if they have a good spring training, I like to sell in late February to mid-March. That baseball prospects, most prospects have a rise in their prices in that late February to mid-March range. But I do like to hold some till call up too, because that can be a pretty big spike if it's the right player. But most players I try to get rid of in spring training if I can. You just don't want a player to lay an egg in spring training, because then you're holding.
Yeah. Ooh, Josu Briseño. So this is a guy that I saw him in person during the Futures game, and was just super amazed at how big he is. Sometimes, just seeing these guys in person can give you a different level of appreciation for what they are, but he is a monster. He's like 6'4", 220, just big dude, mashes home runs. Tigers have a pretty nice farm system with him and McGonigal and Max Clark. I think they've been moving them all up together at the same time. So you could see all three of those guys in the pros this year. McGonigal and Max Clark, way more expensive than Briseño. And this is the power guy. Like he could be a monster in the pros. I think he'll start the season at AA this year, where they ended last year. But he's young, a lot of potential. And, at 98 for a refractor auto, he's still at that really, really good pricing with a lot of room to go up.
Yeah, I like him. I like speed and I like power when I'm looking for prospects. The only thing that detracts me from speed or power is if they're, got a 35 to 40% K whiff rate. But his whiff rate isn't bad. It's like 20, 23, 24%, which isn't bad for a guy that's got 30 plus home run capabilities. So I do like him as well. The Tigers are going to be formidable for a few years. They've got a really nice farm system.
They do. I'm interested to see what happens with Skubal this year, if he gets moved or not.
If they were smart, and I don't know I don't even know if it has smarts, but with all the players they've got coming, they should just do whatever it takes to lock him in, make him a Tiger for life. But he's a generational, once in a lifetime type pitcher that the Mets or Dodgers would love to overpay for. All right, you got Johnny Level.
Yeah, one of the cheaper guys on the list, a little bit of a sleeper, but I don't think he's much of a sleeper. Very flashy shortstop with pop. One of the top, I think, 5 prospects in the Giants organization. Switch hitter, has just super fast bat speed as well. So he's been 18. Yeah, he's been rising through the ranks too pretty quickly, getting a lot of hype lately. Anytime I talk to a Giants fan, they're super excited about him. So I love the price of his cards right now. I've actually been buying quite a bit of him. He may not get called up next year. It might take another season before he reaches the majors, but I think when he does, his cards will be 2 to 3 times what they are now at that point.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he made the majors this coming year. I don't think he's ready for that, but playing a shortstop position as a switch hitter in a good Giants organization, big market. Yeah, I like him as well. And when you can get a refractor auto for $50, you got refractor autos of guys that you've never heard of that still bring $15 and $20 because people collect them. So there's not a real big, it's a pretty low floor at $50.
Yeah, especially given his age, those cards aren't going to go down anytime soon.
I like the fact where he's at right now at 18 years of age. I like my prospects being a little bit younger.
Agree.
They get up in that 23, 24 range, and I start losing any interest in them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Unless they played in college for a while and are just recently drafted, some of those guys I'll tend to go after, but I'm with you. I like 20 and below for the most part. Waldschmidt is a guy who's been getting a lot of noise lately. He's the number one prospect for the Diamondbacks right now. Another speed power combo. I think his cards are relatively affordable. Had a pretty good season in Double-A last year, and I think he could easily be a potential call-up, if not start the season with Arizona if he comes out in the spring and just crushes it. But yeah, right at around 100 for a refractor auto. Looks like a little bit of a slow rise on him, so people are really starting to pay attention to his cards right now.
Yeah, he's got a nice little rise there in the last 6 months. He's a player that, as I was just talking about, older. He's 23 years old, so he's getting a little bit older for a prospect, but he's got a lot of thump in his bat.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's carrying his market right now. Is I think he is a player that could make a debut next year for Arizona. He's ended in Double-A this year, but I think that you could see him make the jump. Then you got Rada here.
Yeah, Nelson Rada. He's actually been making some noise in the fall league this season. Angels prospect. I think last year he stole 50-plus bases. He's 19 years old. Was in Triple-A. I think the youngest player in Triple-A last year. So very, very speedy center fielder. He is the leadoff hitter of the future for the Angels. Flashy guy, very popular. I think he could potentially make the team out of spring, or at least get a relatively early call up as long as he hits well. But I like him a lot. Angels fans I talk to really like him a lot. He's quickly becoming one of their highly touted players.
Yeah, and $39, $40 for a refractor auto. Stupid cheap. And the Angels
yesterday.
Nice.
The
find
Angels
any gems?
I was doing the card. I was pulling the photos off and checking the card centering app on of them. But I didn't buy anything yet. But I probably will today.
Yeah, the Angels are known for getting young players. The last couple of years they've been pulling players up probably quicker than they should have. So I think he's destined to be in the pros this year for sure, as long as he doesn't flop with his hitting. But with his speed and his defense, they might call him up anyways and just let him, kind of like the Brewers did with Chourio, where he started out a little bit slow, but they know he's the future center fielder. They might just call him up, put him in center field for defense and say, hey, kid, figure it out. But $40 is so cheap for a refractor auto.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great buy right now.
You don't see too many players go from A to AA to AAA all in the same year too. He's on a fast track.
And in 19, just turned 19, I think.
All right. Now this is a name that everybody will have heard of.
Yeah, can't hide McGonigal. That, his price is getting so high. It's difficult to see how much room he has to go, but comparing him to guys like Caglianone and Bazzana last year and where their cards are at, I still think he's got room to climb. He is an absolute just stud. Best hitter in the minors, no doubt about it. Probably going to start the season in the pros. I can't see him starting at AA or AAA next year. I think they just put him in the majors. He's ready and he can mash. I want to have stock in him before the season because I think, he's going to come out and be one of the top names that you're hearing talked about in March and April as the season opens.
Yeah, he's for sure going to be, him and, Connor Griffin are going to be the two most talked about hyped players going into spring training. The play. So if you don't want to go with an auto, I've had real good success with the non-auto refractors. They seem to sell real well for Bowman firsts. I made just an absolute killing on Ellie De La Cruz with non-auto refractor firsts. I think I want to say I had 37 of them back when he went off, because I was able to get them cheap. His autos were so expensive, and people forget about the non-autos sometimes. And his refractor first non-auto at the time was, I don't know, 18 or 20 bucks. So with grading fees, it was 40, 45 bucks. And at the time it had like an 85% gem rate. So you just, I thought, well, I could go buy one of his refractor autos for $900 or I can try and do the non-autos. And I had 30 some PSA 10s, and God, that was one of my best plays I've made in the last couple of years. When he went off, his stuff just went nuts. So McGonigal, I think, is a player you could do something like that with. If not the refractors, you could do that sky blue color match. That's always a kind of a cool card as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bowman first numbered are a nice play, much more affordable for guys like that.
All right, we're going to finish this up here today with some football prospects. First one did not have any market movers data. KC Conception, wide receiver, Texas A&M.
Brand new cards, 3 weeks old. I think the Bowman Chrome football are. So we're starting to see a dip already in this market as expected. New release comes out a couple weeks later, it starts to go down. So it's getting to be a good time to buy him. But he's getting a lot of first round noise, top 15 pick status for the draft next year. Right now at Texas A&M, who is going to be potentially in the playoffs and a national championship conversation also. So you could see him getting even more steam over the next month. But I would get some of his cards and try to grade them and have him before the draft, because he's almost unguardable. If you watch him play, just absolutely elite playmaker before he gets the ball and even after the catch. And so, yeah, he's going to be a talent and a first rounder, no doubt, next year, probably a top 3 receiver in this class.
Yeah, this year's draft class is going to be interesting because receivers, there's some good receivers at the top of the board.
Yeah,
running backs are it's a weak running back class. So when we get to the one running back you posted here, I think I'm really intrigued there because I don't know if there might only be one running back that goes in the first round this year.
I think he's the guy, and that's it.
Yeah. So we'll get to him, but a little teaser there. So here we go with another wide receiver. We just talked about a stacked class.
Yeah, Lemon has done really well the last couple of years at USC. He's got a 2023 is his Bowman first, as you can see on the screen here. So a little bit more established market. Some of these guys have multiple years of cards, and you want to definitely go for the first. He's a little bit more pricey, being out of USC. He's getting a little more notoriety. But also I think he's a little more well-known, but very similar to Concepcion. He's relatively small too, but he's still getting that top 15 pick hype. There's 3 to 4 receivers that you see their names in the first round on almost all the mock drafts. And Lemon has been, anywhere from like 8 to 20 on the draft boards that I've been seeing. And that could certainly change fast. Teams could fall in love with a guy like him, and all of a sudden, he gets up there like Tet McMillan did last year for the Panthers. So great playmaker. I don't think you can go wrong buying his stuff at this point and at that pricing that he's at now. I think they'll hold their values for the next year.
This card here, I wish I would have seen it. Talk about a color match. You got the gold with the red logo. Oh my God, what an awesome card that is.
For sure.
For $90. I'd love to see a repeat. I'd smash a buy it now on that one.
Yeah, the golds are class, especially with the USC color match.
That USC color match is for a top 3 receiver. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I have 3 or 4 of his at PSA right now. I forget exactly how many.
Nice.
To get in the back.
Carnell Tate, another wide receiver.
Nice graph. Well, yeah, he's more expensive than Lemon. I think he's been on the rise all season. He was a guy I bought more of his stuff early on. Everybody was talking about Jeremiah Smith, but Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith doesn't have Bowman Chrome cards. I think he's a Panini guy, so we might see him in Prism draft picks when that comes out later this year. But Carnell Tate, I've seen him as high as pick number 3 in mock drafts. That's huge. So, his size and what he's been doing at Ohio State, they could win the championship again, and he could just absolutely go bonkers in a playoff game, which will make that graph shoot up even more. But he's getting a little bit on the high end, I think, in terms of pricing. So I would definitely try to get some deals, or maybe even target him when the season ends and maybe there's not as much attention on Ohio State. But
he's injured. I heard he might not play this on Saturday.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
The other receiver, they got another good receiver.
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, both of them are supposed to be out on Saturday. Yeah. But we'll see.
They'll need them for Michigan. Hopefully, in their case, they'll get them back in 2 weeks. But yeah, the 3 receivers, those 3 guys I think are going to be top 15-ish picks. So definitely good guys to have in your pocket before the draft.
All right, now we're to the running back we were mentioning earlier. Jeremiah Love. Yeah,
Love, really the only running back I would want to buy right now in terms of college. He's, maybe comparable to Genty's pricing last year. I think he's probably a little less expensive than Genty was at this point last year. And he's getting a lot of top 5 pick hype as well. So he could end up on the Heisman stage also. He's got some insane stats for this year, and we could see him as a Heisman finalist, which will certainly put him into the limelight even more. Notre Dame, they're still eligible for the playoffs too, so we could see him spike a little bit more towards the end of the season. And then, kind of come down a little bit, but go back up before the pre-draft hype starts.
I photographed the Arkansas Notre Dame game, and he had, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns in the first half, and then they didn't even play him in the second half.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick him first pick in fantasy football next year.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Then you got getting into one of the quarterbacks here with Dante Moore.
Yeah, really good quarterback class coming out. I think we'll see, several quarterbacks in the top 10 picks and top 30 overall. Dante Moore, he might come back another year. I've heard number 1 pick, I've heard top 5 pick, and I've heard he returns for another season. But he's looked really good this year, had some really nice games at Oregon. The only thing I hate is that he's in that UCLA card on his first one, which I think anytime they're on a different team on their first, it's not as desirable during the season. But honestly, once the season's over and he's going towards the NFL draft, people don't pay that much attention. But $72 for a refractor auto for a potential number 1 pick, that seems wild to me. Way lower than what Cam Ward was last year, or even Shedeur Sanders pricing at this point last year. So I think he's a fantastic buy at that $72 for a refractor auto, and even look to get maybe some of his color autos like a blue or a gold for under $150.
As we get into these last couple of picks, I was just thinking, I'm not normally a gambling guy, but I need to look up and see what the odds are for the Cleveland Browns to draft 2 more quarterbacks this year. Throw $10 down on that.
They're going to take one. You know it.
That'll be their 48th or something since 1999.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Can't get any of them right. They had Baker. They let him go.
That's because he stunk in Cleveland, and a lot of that had to do with we're finding out so much that the system matters. Look at Darnold, look at some of these resurging quarterbacks. The system matters.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jordan Tyson, I think, is the number 1 receiver on the board. It's between him and Tate. Tyson's been hurt. I think he's still hurt right now, which has made his prices dip. But they also, this is a new release that just came out, so he was a little bit on the high end and is now starting to settle in. But he's almost a lock for a top 10 pick in next year's draft. Just fantastic playmaker. Him being hurt, I think you can take advantage, especially if he doesn't come back this season. His prices will fall a little bit more. So I would look to buy him once the season ends and that dip goes down a little bit further.
Yeah, he is extremely talented, but if I was an NFL team, I think I'd take him right off the board, and I wouldn't even be interested in him because, 2023 lost the season due to the knee. 2024 collarbone. Now he got soft tissue. This guy is just an injury waiting to happen. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know how you can risk a high draft choice on a player that might get injured in the team meeting because you're passing out the playbook.
You should ask the Falcons why they drafted Penix.
I know that's same. That is my point right there. 3 ACLs.
Yeah.
That poor kid.
The wind blows in the wrong direction. He gets hurt.
Oh my goodness. All right, we got Ty Simpson.
Yeah, Simpson, he was a great buy early in the season, especially after Alabama lost to Florida State. Everybody was talking about him getting benched and bringing in the backups, but he's leveled a little bit up, as you can see on that mid-season spike there, but still under $100 for a numbered auto. I think that he's going to be another top 5 potential pick. At least in the top 10, he's NFL ready. The scouts really like him. Alabama could end up going on another run in the playoffs this season. We could see them in the Final Four at least, which is going to make those cards spike up a little bit more. But he was a guy great person to buy in the offseason, towards the beginning of the season. But I think there's also going to be another buying window maybe after the season ends. His pricing will go down a little bit more so you can snag him and grade him before the draft.
Yeah, he was a player I was buying back in August. I was paying around $25 to $30 a piece for these refractor autos. I actually got a gold for $55. Those are all at PSA right now.
Nice. Very nice.
But yeah, that was a player I really liked at the beginning of the year. Now he's having a hard time. I probably should buy some more, but at $100, I'm remembering what I paid in August, and I'm just having a hard time doing it.
It's always difficult is when to know when to stop buying a certain prospect. But if you try to compare them to guys in the similar position last year, this is a guy like $300 for a numbered auto, where you could get 5 Dante Moore numbered first instead of 1 Mendoza. What's the choice going to be? I would not buy Mendoza now. I would wait until the season's over. I think he's got so much Heisman championship, first number 1 overall pick hype right now that his auto has come out of the gate. This is a brand new auto, and it has come out strong, and it is not going down. So it kind of shows you how much faith people have in him right now, and how good he has been. But big dude, he's got a cannon for an arm. I think NFL teams, all of them would love to have a guy like that on their squad, and he's going to have a lot of hype leading up towards the draft. So I would want to have some cards of him. Like you said before, if the numbered auto is too much, maybe look for one of his numbered non-auto Bowman first cards from this year.
Mendoza is one of my regrets. Beginning of the year, I had a couple of my buddies that watch college football. They're like, hey, Indiana's going to be pretty good. Mendoza's pretty good. And I'm like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Indiana's terrible. Mendoza sucks. Eating my words by the week. I have 0 Mendoza, 0. Have not bought one. And at this point, I don't think I will be. I probably will have 0 Mendoza exposure. I'm on the Klubnik. I like Klubnik. I like Moore. I still think that when the season is over and everybody quits looking at records, they go to the combines and they see what Nussmeier can do. I still think Nussmeier works his way back into the conversation as a first round draft choice. I think that to me, it's between him and Dante Moore. If I'm an NFL executive, those are the 2 quarterbacks I would want. But I'm not an NFL executive, and I don't give out professional advice. As I told my buddy that Mendoza sucked, so that just goes to show I don't get it right all the time.
I just wish Taylor Green would stop throwing interceptions like crazy. He's got the athletic body for being a great – he reminds me of Jaden Daniels, just being so tall and fast, but he just throws picks like a madman. Maybe that's that Bobby Petrino offense. I don't know, but
that's all of the prospects that today. But do you have anybody like that, Eric, where you thought somebody said you should buy him and you told him no, that guy's no good, and he turns out to be a stud? You got any of those, or am I all alone on an island here?
Oh no, yeah, I definitely have some of those through the years. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head that I completely have passed on, but I can't right now. But yeah, it's impossible to get all these guys right. There's so many factors that go into it, but that's why I like to diversify as much as possible. Get 2 to 3 cards of each guy. And if you miss on one, you got 4 to 5 others that you're doing well on. So that's been my key to success, I think, overall, is just not putting all my eggs in one player's basket. So you can afford to take the L on a few guys and move on to the others.
I'm going to take the L on Lenora Sellers. Oh my God.
Yeah. He doesn't look good. I can't believe they blew that 30-3 game against A&M either. Yeah. What a disaster.
We can't end the show without talking about a tight end, as tight ends with Bowers and some of these tight ends that we've been getting recently. The top 2 tight ends that are going to probably be in the draft this year. You got Michael Trigg from Baylor, and then you've got Max. I'm escaping me. What's his name? Max from Ohio State. Last name escapes me. But those are your top 2 tight ends in the draft this year. I think that Michael Trigg from Baylor could create a lot of conversations that he reminds them a little bit of a Bowers type player, a guy that could play in the slot in the NFL. Big, fast, good hands. He's a player that his stuff is relatively cheap. And then my flyer pick of the thing that we didn't mention today. See if either of you guys throw up or if you like him. Chris Braswell, speedster. I like speed. He's going to be. I think you're going to find that he will probably run the fastest time as a wide receiver this year at the combine. He reminds me a lot of a Xavier Worthy type player. He's just going to beat players down the field on a give and go or a fly, just get out there and run as fast and as far as you can, and I'll throw you the ball. When I was playing quarterback, I loved having guys like that where I could just back up, take my 4-step drop and heave the ball down the sidelines as far as I could, knowing I can't out-throw them. I loved playing with players like that, and Braswell reminds me of that. He's out of Tennessee, just a speed guy.
Yeah, it's like Mike Evans at Texas A&M with Manziel. I think Manziel would just chuck the ball up as far as he could, and he would be like, I know Mike Evans is down there somewhere.
Yep.
And end up with it most of the time.
Hey, can I ask a question before we take off? We have a few minutes.
Was that your question?
I guess I have 2 questions. I talked to Eric on the phone about 7-8 months ago, and he was really nice. And I'm living at my mom's house in Arkansas right now, and I'm planning on giving my first go at Whatnot on December 5th, Friday night. I think I was just going to try starting out on Friday nights. I remember you had told me, I was just getting some tips from you when I was looking. I had my notes that you gave me when I talked on the phone about you recommended having some big cards in the background to try to draw attention.
Yeah.
I had like 84 followers from a few years ago when I bought comic books. So I don't know if that's going to help me at all, but I would have 84 followers. So I'm going to use that account, I believe.
Sure.
But what kind of inventory would you try to bring when you're just starting out, without getting, I know I'm going to take some losses. The first few weeks, I've got a lot of extra Bowman U Now cards, what do you think?
So that's a great question. And Whatnot can be very overwhelming, especially at the beginning. I feel like you've got to kind of find your niche on Whatnot, and develop a following of people based on whatever that niche is. And I would lean towards your strengths. Like, what do you feel like the most about, to where if you throw up a card, you feel like you have a few things that you can say about that player. It's like Whatnot is like a sales presentation, and you've got guys who are over the top, hyping up cards well beyond what they're worth, or players well beyond what they're worth. And then you've got, my style. I'm more laid back. I'm very smooth. I I don't yell. I don't scream. I don't overhype cards. I like to, I even talk about what the comps are of certain cards that I run. But what I would do starting out is I would definitely have some slab. People love slabs, even PSA 9s. But definitely, if you've got some nice PSA 10s that you're looking to move,
a bunch of Lenora sellers.
There you go. Now's a good time to move all of those. But the thing about Whatnot is you never know who's going to be on at that time, right? So you might have somebody in the room who's asking you for Hawaii players or just some, I get the most random requests every time I go on. And so you've got to have, if you want to do multi-sport, you've got to have this massive inventory to appeal to all that. So that's where I say just, if you want to do football, like just focus on football at the beginning, eventually maybe branch into other sports, but really just pick that one sport the most about, or maybe you have the most inventory of, and just try to run a show like that. You can do set prices for cards. The software is so easy to use to where you can change the price of any auction immediately. You can run a 5-minute auction and just let the card sit there and say, I got this card up for $100. Who wants to take it down? And if nobody bids, oh, well, you haven't lost anything, and it didn't cost any money to even run that card. So I would comp a few, maybe like 10 cards, comp them out, know what the prices are, know what you would take for it. Keep in mind the fees on Whatnot are 8%, whereas eBay's 13.5%. So you're going to save that 5%. I like to always pass that off, and just try to come under whatever the last comp was or what I think I could sell this card for on eBay. Take 5% off that price and I'll run it at that. It takes a while before you can start running cards at $1 and just letting it go, unless you have let's say you like to rip packs and you ripped a bunch of stuff, and you've got just like random numbered cards or, autos that aren't worth grading, they're off-centered, whatever they are. That's a great place to run those cards. That's to me like cards I get on eBay that I'm like, this isn't gradable because it's off center, or maybe there's a little bit of a ding or something. And I'll just go on Whatnot and I'll point that out. I'll be like, corner ding right here. I'll show them what's wrong with the card. If there's a print line, I'll call that out too. I don't always call out if it's off centered or not. I think people can typically tell that, but great place to run those type of cards. If you get PSA 8s and 9s back in a submission, great place to run those as well. But I would maybe try to gather some inventory. Oh, Terry, you're the man, that you don't really care about. And, whatever it goes for in order to sort of build that following. But once people realize that, hey, Bo's got some nice cards, they'll give you a follow, and then they'll start asking you for certain things like that. And once you start getting that interaction, which is what I love about it, it's like the pulse of the industry, because people are asking you for what's hot in the moment. You're going to kind of hear, okay, this is what everybody's looking for. I keep getting asked for these players, and you can start tailoring your buying towards that, to where, I've got a couple safe searches on eBay to where I'm just trying to find numbered cards of superstars, for whatever the season is. So I'll look for like LeBron, Steph Curry, Wemby, Maxey, guys like that. And you're finding like $10 to $15 numbered cards that you can maybe get on a deal. And then, you look to sell them on Whatnot once you've built up sort of that, base followers. And that's when you can start to sell cards over comps. I've had some success with that. People get FOMO on there like crazy, especially if you're running something that is a little bit more rare or harder to find. You'll get a bidding war. And, once people start swiping, they can't stop. So that's the nice part about Whatnot is that action. It's kind of like a high school. You've got popular sellers, you've got sellers that are maybe not so popular, but you've got to have a little bit of a some sort of an entertainment value to it. Whether you're just talking about sports the whole time, maybe you have amazing soundtrack songs that you're playing. But I got a big basketball following at the beginning, and I went hard on marketing. I promoted my show a few times. I did a bunch of giveaways. I probably spent about $200 to $300 right up front. I just looked at it as I'm building a card brand. I want to market myself. I want to build up followers. I want to direct people to my Instagram, my eBay store. And so I thought Whatnot was a great place to do that. And I ended up getting like 1,000 followers my first week. And it ended up being a lot of basketball people. So I love basketball, but I also love football and baseball. But I kind of went with the crowd. And then it got to the point where I was doing a lot, because I love college cards so much. I was doing a lot of Bowman Chrome, and I started to get a lot of requests for women players, because you don't see very many, women sports card sellers. So I started buying more WNBA, more college women's basketball. And it got to the point where now I can run a WNBA, NCAA women's basketball card show for an hour and have 50, 60 people in the room. And it's, a dedicated show, 100 cards, just all women's sports. So, those are the kind of things, whatever path you want to go in, however you feel most comfortable, I would say just lean into your strengths, what you're most passionate about, what you want to talk more about. Because it's kind of like hosting your own live podcast, and you've got people there, and you can kind of direct them towards, what it is you're looking to sell that day.
Nice. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you go starting out, how many times a week did you roll?
I did every day for like 2 weeks. Well, 5 days a week for 2 weeks. And then I started, it's important to like schedule shows out too, and be consistent. And it's all about your schedule. Like I would just get on for 45 minutes, like at lunchtime. I have a little studio set up on a desk where I've got lights and a camera. And, I would just turn it on. I would have my card set to the side. I'd go for 45 minutes, and then I'd be like, all right, guys, I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. Just kept doing it over and over again before you start seeing the same kind of names pop up in each show. And before you know it, you've got 2 guys in the show, and then the next one there's 4, and it just keeps growing from there. And I think once you get to the point where you can get 30, 40 people in your room, that's when you can really start you can run cards. On Sunday mornings, I do a basketball show, and I'll go for about an hour and a half, and I'll sell 100 cards in an hour and a half, net $1,500, $2,000 at the end of the show. That's like 2 weeks worth of eBay sales that you just knocked out in an hour and a half, that you didn't have to take any pictures. You didn't have to type anything out on eBay. You literally are running 15-second auctions. And you can put the price for whatever you want. You can start at $1. You can start at $100. It's completely up to you for each individual card.
Nice. Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Eric, thank you for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you back on the show. Just a wealth of knowledge. Again, give Eric a follow on IG, the Card Society, or Mr. Hop on Whatnot. As always, feel free to reach out to any of us, message us if you've got questions, want to talk. If you're interested in coming on the show, let us know. And I hope that this was an enjoyable show, and you guys can go out and buy some cards and make some money. Till next time, guys, we will see you in 2 weeks. Will we be in 2 weeks, Bo? Is that going to work?
Yeah.
All right. In 2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
December, baby.
Yeah.